Now, perhaps this is the most important question to myself or to some of us who really wants to be a neuroscientist. Why is being a neuroscientist a rewarding experience? Or maybe I should say, what's the best thing about being a neuroscientist? I will not talk about the bad things of being a neuroscientist. We do have something not so good about being a neuroscientist. Again, the answers to these questions really depends. Depends on different persons, depends on different people. To myself, I think as a scientist in general, if any one of you want to be a scientist in the future, you see that as a scientist, we are really sitting in the forefront of expanding human nature, of human knowledge about nature. If you have a discovery of yourself in the future, I can tell you that it is a very thrilling moment because you will know that in the whole world, you are the first one to know about this discovery, its fact. And it is a very rewarding experience in itself. But with respect to neuroscience itself, I think we have another layer of sort of satisfaction. Not only are we at the forefront of the human knowledge about nature, we're actually at the forefront of understanding ourselves. Why do I say that? It is because if you think about it, we are what we are because of our brain. If we have problems in the liver, we can have a liver transplant. If we have a kidney problem, we can transplant our kidney. But we cannot transplant the brain because if you have a transplant your brain, you're actually a different person already. All right? Brain cannot be replaced in this sense. So if we understand the brain, we're actually understanding ourselves. Now, if you're not too convinced, there is a bonus that it is also very fun to conduct neuroscience research. There's a lot of very interesting and fun experiments that we can conduct. I have been doing this for over 30 years, and I can tell you that I'm still have a lot of passions to study about the brain. All right, having talked about these general aspects, maybe some of you are interested in, okay, what kind of neuroscience question do I actually tackle in my own research? Simply, I'm interested in anything about the brain, but I don't have the time, energy, and also the money to do all kinds of research. So I would just like to highlight two very brief examples of some of the achievements that we have made in the past. The first questions relates to what's going on in the brain when we learn a new motor skill. Because I've been interested in studying motor system for many years. So this is always the question that I have in mind. So give you an example, a beginner of a sport like this lady. Sorry about that. One makes a lot of mistakes, okay? Because we're just beginning to learn it. However, after practice and practice, some of us may be so good like this lady that become a professional one, right? So through practice, our brain actually can improve our ability in performing particular motor tasks. We're interested in this question for some time. So how should we study that? We think that maybe we can learn something from our laboratory animals. After all, we keep a lot of laboratory animals for conducting research, and perhaps some of you don't know, some of them are very hyperactive. For example, this guy here can do this kind of small sort thing automatically by itself. So they are very good in the motor skills. So what we have done, in our experiments is that we try to train our animals, in this case our laboratory rat, to do a rather novel task, which is taking out its volume and then in a rather awkward position get the food. So this is what we will do here. We put the food in front of it, and then this animal has to do it. After practice, this animal will be able to do that very smoothly, such as this one. We slow down the video to show that. This is the slit, this is the forepaw, and all of a sudden, it stretches this digit and grabs the food. We can train this animal to become an expert in this kind of act. More importantly, at the same time, you see here, we're actually sticking some recording electrodes directly into the brain, in this case, the motor cortex. And we record the activity during the process of how these animals learn from a novice to become an expert. And with that, we analyze all this data, and we have to collect all this information, and then we analyze our data, In many cases, we have to rely on some computing model, statistical model, in order to gain insight into that. So this is what we did, and finally, we found something interesting, and our goal is then to share our knowledge with the rest of the world. So we try to publish our results in top scientific journals. In this case, we were successful because we published in a rather good journal. The important thing is that we share our knowledge with all neuroscientists or scientists all over the world, which is one big community. Being a neuroscientist, you have a sense that you are not confined to a small place like Hong Kong, but actually you are part of a member of a bigger community, which is the worldwide neuroscience community.